So yesterday, a story emerged that Gianluca Scamacca wanted to go back to Italy. Since then, there's been an awful lot of pushback on it. There's been some amended details. There's been some additional quotes on it because the original story suggested he wanted to go back to Italy. He wanted to go back to Roma. And this is for you, Jack. There's suspicion that he was flashing his knickers at Jose Mourinho. Now, when I say there was a pushback, it was Gazzetta dello Sport broke the story. And what happened was Fabrizio Romano sort of paraphrased it and used it in a tweet. He got a lot of stick yesterday, Fabrizio Romano. I'm going to say something in his defence here, and that is that I read that story at, I don't know, about 9:15 in the morning, something like that. Those other amended comments about him loving West Ham were not there. They were not in it. And I'll tell you what, because I posted a link up as well, and the link is from, it's from a website called getfootballnewsitaly.com. That has the original article in it, right? That getfootballnewsitaly.com has the original article in it, and it's all about him, Mourinho making him a better player and all the rest of it. There wasn't the amended quotes in there. Someone's been naughty, don't get me wrong. Someone's been naughty and printed half the story, but I don't really blame Fabrizio Romano for it. In fact, the original article signed off with this phrase. I've got it up on screen now. Despite a disappointing first season, which can be attributed to his lack of suitability to David Moyes' system, Scamacca's stock remains high in Italy. That's really how the article was written. It then got amended. Then the Evening Standard picked up on it. I obviously did a video correcting what I'd said earlier, but the information at the time was only half there. But you have to take somebody at their word. So if what Scamacca is saying is he is happy in England, take him at his word. That's it. Story over. Okay? But if we accept that, and accept that he's happy at West Ham, and he wants to score 20 goals next season, he's looking forward to it, and he's motivated, then we have to help him. Because whilst only half the story was printed, I think the last comment is true. And it's written by the Italian press, despite a disappointing first season, which can be attributed to his lack of suitability to David Moyes' system. That is still the view of myself. I was going to say the view of the people in Italy. That's my view as well. That's the people of the view in Italy. And I suspect it's Scamacca's view. So what's David Moyes going to do? If we're going to keep this player, and he's a fine player, he's a really good player, then we have to get the best out of him. I say a fine player, I think he's got a lot of attributes which mean he could thrive, absolutely thrive in the Premier League. I'm not going to explain all his attributes, you know them yourself, you've seen him play. But I think there's a way to get the most out of him. And I do wonder if Scamacca was bought when David Moyes had that intention to change things at West Ham. That's what he said. Change things at West Ham, change the style of football. There was a suspicion that we'd been found out. There was an inclination from him to, in his words, break it. I have to break it so as I can build it again. That's what he said. He's talking about breaking the old system, the old counter-attacking defensive system. That's what he says. I'm going to bring these players in. I'm going to bring in Paqueta, and I've brought in Scamacca. So it was meant to be a more expansive game of football happening. I do wonder if at the point, because there was definitely a point during the season where he sort of ditched that. I understand we had Mark Warburton on, and Mark Warburton said that wasn't the case, but I think we did. I think he tried to experiment and then he reverted back. That's how it felt. We went defensive again. I didn't ever feel that we were trying to attack in the second half of the season. We went back to counter-attacking football, and it worked. I mean, it really did work. However, it working and it working for Gianluca Scamacca are two separate things. Did it work for West Ham? Yes, we got clear of relegation. We won the Conference League. Did it work for Gianluca Scamacca? No. Now, I know he was injured, all right, and that's part of the positive spin that's being put on him for next season. But I don't think Gianluca Scamacca remaining injury-free is going to be enough. Because even if he wasn't injured, even when he wasn't injured last season, he was still wandering around like a little boy lost. Say little boy, he's massive. A big boy lost up front because he had nobody near him. The system didn't suit him. There were times when he was seeing so little of the ball, he looked dejected and looked disinterested. It's something we'd seen before with Sebastian Haller. This isolated striker up front. So I do wonder if David Moyes is going to revert back to his original plan, which was to play a more expansive style of football. But it sort of got me thinking, really. Did David Moyes intend to play more attacking football? Well, he said he did. Did you see it? Or did I see it? I don't think I saw it. But that doesn't mean he didn't try. There's a lot of people that might try something, and you try and you fail. Hey, it happens to all of us, doesn't it? But I still think David Moyes tried to play a more expensive football. If he did it from within the parameters of his own system. So he basically kept the same system, whatever you want to call it, the 4-2-3-1, let's call it that. He still kept that. But he thought, I'm going to still play the same thing that's been defensive for me, but I'm going to turn it into an attacking formation. I just wonder if it's so entrenched that it's very hard for the squad to ask them to do something different. If you're a manager, it's very hard for you to sort of change your managerial leopard spots, if you know what I mean. And I just wonder, actually, do you know what, Moisey, if you're going to change it. Change the formation. Don't just change the ethos. Don't just change the instruction. Don't just change the tactics within the system. Because there is one very simple way, and maybe I'm oversimplifying football, and you could say I understand nothing about football at all. But wouldn't just playing one more attacker help? And I do wonder if it's as simple as that. And if it is, then I think that more than anything else would help Scamacca. And this is really important. If we're going to decide to keep him, and the choice might not be ours, for all this talk in Italy, they don't seem to have the money to buy him anyway. So it may well be that we've got him. And maybe Scamacca knows that. And maybe he's thinking, well, do you know what? I'm going to make the best of it at West Ham. It's pointless me being here and being unhappy. I'm going to make the best of it. I'm going to tell everyone I'm happy. I'm going to be happy. I'm going to try my best. If you asked me, if you put a gun to my head and asked me, do I think he'd like to go back to Italy? I suspect if Juventus came calling, he'd probably want to go to Juventus. But I don't just mean that's because of Scamacca. I think there'd be plenty of people who'd probably want to do that. But throw another attacker up there, because he looks lost on his own. And we all know that when he thrived at Sassuolo, it was with Raspadori up front. Because this sort of plays into a video I did a couple of days ago about Danny Ings. Because we can't seem to get the best out of him. Is there not an obvious solution here? It might not be the solution, but you want to try it, right? If it fails, at least you've tried it. We could get to a situation where Scamacca leaves and Danny Ings leave, but we've never tried them as a partnership. And is it just me? That would be stupid, right? That would be foolish. If we're in a position where we're trying to find goals and we've got these two strikers who can both hit the back of the net. One of them, a really, really cute sort of fox in the box operator. The other one, an absolute beast of a man with a thunderbolt shot. What was it? Last season, I think it was Sai Benrahma who won the award for the hardest, the firmest, most powerful shot in the Premier League. I didn't even know that was an award. I didn't even know it was something that was that a prize was given out for. But great, Sai Benrahma won it. I was surprised Sai Benrahma won it, not because of the goal. The goal was a good goal. But I think if you'd have said to me at the start of the season, after I've seen everybody play, which player do you think at West Ham is going to score the hardest, have the hardest shot and the most, the howitzer, the absolute nuclear strike of his right foot, or left foot, I don't remember what foot it is, but I would have said Scamacca. Scamacca is that guy. Because, wow, he can hit the ball hard. Really, really hard. He's got a lot of attributes there. And I look at it and I think, well, maybe there's a partnership there. Maybe something. So it's all very well making the noises. I don't mean Scamacca here. I mean, actually, I won't say Moyes. I haven't heard Moyes speak about it. I haven't heard Moyes speak at all since the end of last season. But Billy McKinlay has spoken. And McKinlay has said that he feels that this season can be Scamacca's breakthrough season. Okay, fine, brilliant. But you've got to help him. Because I'm pretty sure if Scamacca plays in the way that in the formation that he played last season, we're going to see much of the same. And as much as he might be feeling good now and feeling like a happy hammer and so on and so forth, I don't think it will take many games of him being isolated where we sit back and we don't do anything and he doesn't get many chances in a game. He's going to get frustrated. And look, I guess no players like being substituted, but some react worse than others. And he does not like being substituted. And it was very telling. His body language last season when, maybe he'd started and he was hauled off after 60, 65 minutes or something. It was very down. He was upset. He was disappointed. As I say, everybody is to be substituted. But I think it was more stark for him because things weren't going his way and the system didn't suit him. So I hope we help him. If this is all true, and as I say, you have to take him at his word and no reason to disbelieve it. If it's true that actually he is happy at West Ham, he's looking forward to scoring 20 goals next season, help him out. Give him a system. Give him something that he can thrive and operate in. And is it as simple as just throwing 2 men up front? Maybe, maybe not. But I would suggest the other thing that he's tried, which is getting the 2 wide players closer, doesn't work that frequently for Scamacca. It works for Antonio, but it doesn't work for Scamacca, and that's surely what we're talking about, right? Because if what we're going to do is just play a system that suits Antonio, then eventually Antonio is going to be the one that works his way into the starting place all the time, and we'll be looking at it thinking, well, Antonio has to start because Scamacca can't play this system. And then you've got Scamacca back in the same situation that he already was. I am aware that I've not mentioned Mubama in this one at all, but it's a different conversation. I would like to see him feature more this season. I really would. But as a way, if you're going to go with these and we've got 4 strikers and Mubama's one of them, let's start playing 2 up front occasionally. The way we have utter trepidation and fear against some of these sides who would possibly get drawn with in the group stages in Europe, just throw 2 strikers in on some of those games. There's no reason not to. You might end up finding a system that works. Might well work for you. Might get the best out of them. You might find it gets the best out of your wingers. You may well find that you're solving a bit of a problem in midfield. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I don't know much about it. I'm really pleased, though. If Scamacca honestly is happy at West Ham, then I'm absolutely delighted that he wants to stay here. But I want to see it on the pitch. And the only way it can happen, if Scamacca's happy and he wants to stay, then the onus is on David Moyes. So come on, Moyes, you've got to get a formation to get the best out of a player, let's be fair, that you identified and chased for 18 months, cost £35 million. We know he's got the talent there. So it's not Scamacca's problem anymore. It's up to the manager to unlock the talent.